Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Success Keys Masterclass. I'm so excited for this topic because it is something that I've seen in the space that just needs to be talked about. And it's all about what it takes for people to buy your NFT collection. It's that link that we are missing. And it's truly the reason why I feel like suddenly collections have started to just not sell out anymore. So I'm so happy you're here. I have some music going. If you've been to my master classes, you know I like to just set the mood for myself, get myself in the energy so I can provide you the best master class. So it'll come off in a little bit, but just let me vibe for a second. So happy you're here. If you are first time to this masterclass or first time to this Discord, or just your first time interacting with me, let me give you a little introduction. My name is Caitlin. I am the owner of two marketing agencies. One is Very Web 2, Rising Ranks Digital. It is SEO for women. And the other one is MetaMint Marketing, which is probably the one that you know if you're here. And it's NFT marketing agency for women. And my ultimate goal is to help get wealth in the hands of women, especially in male-dominated industries. If you're male and you're here, you are more than welcome here too. Don't worry. But the way I approach marketing is just, it has more of, I'm turning down my music now, just like of a beautiful feminine and masculine balance that Web 2 didn't provide. It's also a way that helps really support the feminine, whether you're male or female. So all are welcome. I'm all about intentional marketing. So let's get into some housekeeping items before I get along with recording. This is recording. When we first started these master classes, we had the group poll and everyone wanted to have these recordings. So they lasted forever if we wanted them to. And it just helps really support people in different time zones, help support women and males, who have different life things going on all the time. So we felt that it was best. If you do have questions, obviously this isn't live, but I will provide a space for you to ask your questions. And if there are enough questions, then I will create a Q&A video at the end. Sometimes there's tons of questions, sometimes there's not. If there's one or two, I'll just answer them in the thread. If there are more, then I will create an actual video. So if you have questions, please, please, please ask them. Let's keep the conversation going, whether you're here at the beginning for when this drops, or whether it's months down the road. I am always here and always, the container is always open for those who are coming in and watching in this space, especially if it's in my Discord. So sometimes I take these, I'll have free masterclasses, but then I'll take them down and repackage them to resell. But this one is going to stay up in Discord. So you will have lifetime access and you don't need to worry about really trying to hustle to get this watched and get this completed. So go at your leisure. Also, if you're watching this near the time of recording, so what is today? It is 4/26/22. Then you know that my currently pinned tweet is up. It's promoting this class. If you quote tweet this or retweet by this Friday, 4/29, you will automatically be my next paid masterclass. So this one's free. I have free masterclasses. I also have paid masterclasses. I try to do one of each every month. The next paid masterclass is going to be the art of storytelling. I did a poll of what you felt you needed from me, and the majority of people talked about how they wanted support with telling their brand story, telling their life story, and telling it effectively in a way that creates a better brand for yourself and really creates connection with, your soul family. So it's just another great way, another great tool to have in your pocket to grow your community and effectively sell to them in a really feel good way. Sorry, I have allergies right now. Yeah, so this is my thank you to you because I value your input so much. Typically, I have you quote, tweet, or retweet for like, the raffle style, but everyone will get access to this paid program if you retweet by 4/29. I'll also add an image here, just so that you can post on your own if you prefer that, or just go to my Twitter and just, quote retweet and do all those things. Just make sure that if you are taking the image from this Discord, from this channel, and you are quote tweeting it, retweeting it, make sure, or you're not quote tweeting it or retweeting that. I actually get those alerts, but I don't get alerts if you just take this image and post it. So if you do that, make sure to tag me so I can know to add you to the paid masterclass when it comes down the pipeline next month. All right, so let's dive in. This is all about creating a collection, an offer, a service, a product that people can't help but desire to buy it, and not just want to buy it. Notice I said desire, not want. There's, obviously little subtle differences in sentences, but it's a huge energetic shift. When you get people to desire something, selling becomes so easy. You don't even really need to sell. Those brands that you find and you are just, for some reason, there's something going on with it that you don't know why you want to buy it, but you just have to buy it and you can't wait for them to launch because something about it just makes you want to buy, or you just want to be there in a community. You don't know why. Today we are here to make sure that we pass that vibe check. Like that is, a total vibe check. It is, I don't know if people are doing it or not doing it because I've never heard this be taught at all. Through all of my marketing experience, I've been in this world for 15 plus years now. So they might be doing it consciously, subconsciously, I don't know, but we're here to get that vibe check. So there are two major things that come into play with this. And I'm not going to get super tactical in the to-dos for this masterclass. This is going to be, maybe I'll do that for another masterclass of like, the tactical to-dos that you can do to create more drive to purchase, like little tweaks and little things, and more like the psychology hack of those things. But this is going to be higher level. It's going to be very strategic and on a very deep soul level versus like a tactical, like do this, and very step-oriented, like actions that I'm going to be talking about. So the purpose of this, and I have different types of masterclasses in here because they attract different people, and they are, I'm trying to provide as much value as I can to as many people as possible. But the purpose of this masterclass today is to expand your thinking and to get you to think bigger when it comes to your marketing. So we're not going to be down here in the tactics. We are going to be blown out here, really thinking high level, really creating conversations that are just like mind explosive, get your wheels turning. So I don't even think you really need notes for this. You can sit back, relax, and really try to take it in. There's going to be different parts of this, and this is going to be a masterclass that you're going to want to probably rewatch multiple times, and you'll probably get something different out of it every time. So there's providing something. Okay, so one, there's two things. So let's talk about these two things. And this is, creating that vibe and creating that desire. There's providing something that aligns with your purpose, but also what aligns with other people and their purpose, if that makes sense. So first of all, just aligning with your purpose. Let's focus on that. And purpose is touched, we go really deep into this into my other free masterclass, Undercurrent of Success. And that is, I actually took that down, but I'm going to redo it because I feel like I have so much more coming through for that. So that will be coming, is really creating and providing a brand and creating services that align with your purpose. That's just a portion of the Undercurrent of Success masterclass. So watch for that. That will probably be my next free masterclass again. So you want to align with your purpose. That's the main takeaway I'm trying to get here. And then you also want to make sure that it aligns with what other people truly want and need. So if it's just with your sole purpose, nobody's going to care about it. If it's just what people truly want or need, it kind of like there's that break in energy because it doesn't align with your purpose. So you need to have both of those. And you need to have, this is the, the other part of it is having a deep understanding. You need to have a deep understanding of what drives your soul family to buy. If you're new here, soul family just means your ideal customers, the people who you want in your community, the people who you want to purchase and who you want to hang out with every day. Your soul family. It's, the Web3 take on ideal client. All right, so we're going over all of this in class today. This is going to be a longer masterclass. Usually I like smaller bite-sized videos, but I feel like this all just kind of needs to be together, tied together. I will tell you which parts we go into detail with on other masterclasses, but I want to show you how this all works together and just marketing as a whole. So a common theme that I am seeing in this space and why I felt so called to create this masterclass is that so many people are coming into the Web3 and NFT space. And I think it's for the right intentions. Most of the time it is, but they're going about it all wrong. And honestly, it's not even just like a Web3 thing, but this is something that I am dead set on changing for Web3. We are early here, and I always say that we write our chapter. We are leaving our footprints in the space. And this is how I want to leave my footprint is I want to make sure that we are leaving Web2 tactics that aren't serving the highest good behind. So this is what I typically see. People come in and they're thinking, okay, let me create an NFT project. Oh, here's what I know and I can create, or, here's what I can offer because I've done it before. Or, maybe they're doing it because, they just think they need a utility. Or maybe it's just because, everyone else is doing it. It could also be just because people are doing it because they think that's what people want, when in actuality, they don't. Or they just do it just because they can, or because they want to check off that, utility box. So when you lead with any of this type of mentality and thinking, 98% of the time, you are going to fail, especially if you add unrealistic expectations into the mix as well, which is something I also see a lot. We're starting to move away and kind of shift out of this a little bit. So I'm super happy and grateful about that. But if you're coming in here with that mindset of what we just talked about, plus the unrealistic expectations of, I need a fast sellout, I need to sell out within, 24 hours, but, you have no community and you've created zero investment, whether it's monetary or your time, that just is not realistic. So again, I cannot preach intentional marketing enough. And this is what sets me apart from all the other marketers, is that I preach quality, intentional building, community building. And I'm not here to teach you about quick wins, spammy content, or just like yucky sales tactics in general. Like, that is not the vibe here. And if that's what you're looking for, I'm sorry, not for you. But this is because I want to make sure you are actually launching to an incredibly engaged audience, because that's what's going to buy. These spammy tactics, they create audiences that are fake. So you might think that you can launch because you have a Discord of 5,000 people. Well, if they got there in a very unintentional way, or if they got in there, you brought them in there with ill intentions, it's not going to work out. It's, and even if it does, even if it gets buzz, the floor price is going to drop, the community is going to fall apart. So intentional marketing, intentional community building is what it's all about. So this is all part of this. Marketing is one big onion. I look at it as one big onion, and I like to pull back the layers in every single masterclass. So every masterclass I have just has a different layer that we touch on. So if you haven't yet, make sure you check out all the other free videos. If you feel called, right now we have 2 paid programs. It is the Built to Last, which is the community building, and then the launch program, which is that's the very there's one day that's more kind of like that overarching energetics type, and then the rest of it is very tactical. So we have that too. By the time you're watching this, we probably have more. I need to figure out a better way to list out all of the paid programs that we have, so I'll look into doing that. But we have loads and loads of free content here as well, so make sure you're at least touching those and getting your eyes on those. All right, so a little bit of a tangent. So leading with, okay, what can I give, comes from a non-intentional place. It comes from a, how do I make money in this space place? So it's not just about what you can give. And to win in this space, what you offer needs to come from something much deeper. People tend to be really consumed by thoughts of what they want from others without trying to understand what others want for themselves. Okay, this is the key. This is like the key of the Success Keys Masterclass. And the rest of this is going to be untangling all of this. We're going to take different perspectives. I'm going to tell you different views on this. And again, we want to expand your mind and get you to think in ways that you haven't thought of before, just to elevate yourself in this space. And of course, to be more intentional. So yes, we all want to make money in this space. I don't think anyone can deny that. But it can't be the lead. And that reason, the money reason, can't be bigger than your actual purpose on this planet as a human. And even when your purpose is big and you're here for the right reasons, it also won't translate if you can't relate it back to your audience and how it affects them. See how this all makes sense? We're kind of going back to the two first, points that I talked about. So number one, what is your sole purpose beyond money? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind? When you're sitting on your porch, you're 90 years old, you're rocking back and forth, and you're looking back on your life, what do you want to be known for? Like, what would make you proud? What's the one thing that you could leave behind that would make you really proud? And, with that said as well, your purpose also needs to align, like I've been saying, with what other people need and want in this life, and, and align with their purpose as well. Okay. So this is what is, the whole core of pulling together a soul family, is that your purpose needs to align with their purpose and what they need and want. So when you get this on lockdown, you will know exactly what you need to put in your Twitter bio, how to market yourself, what to say when you're talking to people on the phone and Twitter spaces and your Discord. It will guide you on what support you need to offer in your Discord or outside of your Discord, what utility you need, or even like down to like what merch you want to offer. So it really is the core of all the things. And whenever you are coming back to your marketing, you need to come back to everything we talk about today. Does this align with everything that Caitlin has talked about? Okay. So, again, this is another reason why you need to just come back and make sure that this is ingrained in you, because it should be a daily decision in your collection, in your business, or just like the services that you're offering the Web3 space. All right. So yes, it's all the things. It's never about you. It's not what you think is cool or what you can offer. It's not even about what you are good at. It's about your soul's purpose. If it's your purpose, you can become good at it. I will tell you that right now. Without this, you will not have the drive to keep going in this space without it. This space is brutal. This space is 24/7 and it is demanding. It takes a lot of energy. You have to do something that is aligned with your purpose. Again, this is what we go into in the Undercurrent of Success Masterclass, the free one, which I'm going to be bringing back next month. So then again, what your soul family really needs and wants. And, honestly, it's not even like it's not about what you like. Like, a lot of people come in, and I don't know why I keep coming back to like merch stuff, because I don't know. I think it's just because I've been seeing this a lot, but people are like, oh, like, let me put my logo on there. Well, cool. Like, honestly, you think that's cool, but they probably don't want your logo. Like, what's the underlying purpose? Is it, I'm trying to like, I'm only thinking of examples I'm doing for my project, which I can't share right now because it's going through legal. But is there a tagline that resonates with people that doesn't, it can include your logo, but it has the tagline? Like, people are probably going to be more attracted to your sign off or your tagline more than just a logo, or it could be that it's an NFT. Well, maybe you have your NFT and it's like the one that you use for all your marketing. Okay, well, maybe people don't want that for their t-shirt. Maybe they want their own NFT for their t-shirt that they have, So just thinking about it in that regards, and that is very tactical and like very small, but that's just, I think, a really good example for this point. And you can blow this out to however big that you want to. What you're offering needs to also align with your capacity. You cannot overpromise and underdeliver. So think about like, what can you deliver on? Can you hire someone to deliver this for you? Are your expectations realistic in regards to timing, pricing, the output, the energy that you have availability for? And then, given within your means, you have to deliver it. You have to have the ability to deliver it. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, because obviously that's going to really turn people off. But you also don't want to overpromise and then actually deliver on it, because that's when you're going to burn yourself out. And that's not going to help anyone in this space, especially not your community or yourself. So sole purpose, to, kind of like recap and bring it back. Sole purpose, this is your energy source. The reason you keep going, your fuel to push through hard things. When you are doing and taking action from this place, this is what magnetically attracts people to you. And this is aligned action. So you have the desires that are planted in you for a reason. That means you're meant to do it. And it might not make sense. It might not make you the most money at first, but it will be the easiest route to your success. I can promise you that. And I've learned that the hard way. And that's, the main reason why I am so passionate about really teaching this. And I'm not going to get into my story here, just because this is going to be such a long masterclass. And I have honestly so many stories to tell about this, but I've learned the lesson the hard way in so many ways. And I can tell you right now that if something is giving you a gut reaction of no or yes, follow it, whether if it makes sense or not, just follow it. Okay. So when this happens, when you do follow this, things fall into place. And it might not be butterflies and roses all the time, but at least means you're going down your soul's path in the most divine way it needs to. It's, for the greatest good of all, and you learn the lessons you need to learn more quickly. You might have bumps and you might need to learn some things, but you keep moving and you keep up leveling with every bump. If you keep saying no to things that you're like a hell yes to, or the reverse, things get sticky and it's going to take you a lot longer to get to where you need to go. I can promise you this. This is a muscle that needs to be worked on, just like going to the gym. So whenever you do something, like, just think like, is this aligned with me? And again, I'm not going to go into this because that's the whole other, masterclass, but you show up bigger, you create more capacity to hold more space for yourself and others. Decisions become easier if you follow this. That is like the whole recap. This is where your mission also comes from. And this is where you need to be making those higher level decisions, your collection decisions. Maybe it's like think about it, like, okay, so what is your purpose? Like, are you onboarding new people into Web3? Are you helping to cure cancer, give support to cancer survivors? This is like all great. But you need to know, like, if something happens, if there's a hiccup, like, how are you going to go about this? If you need to make a decision about what masterclass to produce, you need to go back to your mission. Like, what is going on? And I can give you a great example of this is that, through the NFT collection, what's her name? I'm blanking, Tribe X. They did such a phenomenal job about sticking with their purpose and their mission. So they had some issues with their launch, and it's a long story, but they had a ton of issues, and they basically got scammed through whoever set up their contract, I believe. So what they did is they stopped, and they pulled their audience, and they're like, should we cut our collection in half? Should we create it? Because obviously we've lost momentum. And then they came back and they said, what, no, like, our mission is that nobody's left behind. We don't care if we sell out today, but we are going to stick with the 10,000 because we don't want anyone left behind. We don't care how long it takes. So that is just a great example that just like gave me goosebumps of how people are so aligned with their mission and making decisions from that place. So I'm a holder. I am in love with them, just FYI, but this is a big reason why I'm a holder, is because they're so steadfast in their purpose. Okay. So yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to think of another example. Mine is getting wealth into the hands of women, by means of very elevated, mind expanding conversations that drive you to take high level actions. So every masterclass, I'm asking myself, does this align? Does this make sense? Does this get us one step closer to the end goal? For example, today I told you that you don't even need to take notes. Like, come back, let it integrate with yourself, let your mind expand and watch it again. And do it on repeat, So we're really getting into this conversation of, do I need to give you these steps? And I am going to give you a little bit of steps, and I always do, but like really the purpose of this is to expand your mind and how you show up in this space. Okay. Let me look over my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Also, too, side note, I am creating an NFT collection. You first heard it here, all around this and creating it wealth and getting wealth into the hands of women. So stay tuned for that. But this is all around my bigger purpose of that, So I've always wanted to create a collection. Then I waited on it because I didn't know if it was something that people wanted. And then there's a spark of something that attached that purpose that I know people want, they're not getting now. So we will be launching that soon once it all goes through like the legal stuff that it needs to. But that came from the decision of where my purpose came from. All right. So purpose is huge here. This again isn't like the key. This is kind of like the first layer. And you need to start here because it is like the first step to everything that you do. So I did want to take time to focus on this. All right. So let's go on to the next step. What your soul family wants. This is the head turner. So what is the problem that they want solved? If you don't know this, then you're never going to get the eyes on your project that you want or that you deserve. When people are scrolling, we stop when something is a solve to our current and most prominent pain point. So we have to keep that in mind, that it can't just all be like butterflies and our purpose. It has to actually align with what people want and has to explain how we help them solve their problems. And, for this, I go deeper into this in the Built to Last Masterclass, which is how to build community. It's the paid program. So make sure you check that out if you haven't. It basically tells you how to figure out what your peeps need and what they want, and how to basically, build a community around that. So take the time to clearly and deeply know what your soul family needs. I'm bringing up this because it isn't well understood, and you do need to understand it to go on to the next step. If you haven't first turned heads and you haven't actually grabbed the attention of your people, then you lose them. You lose them as followers. They might not even, follow you. They might not even just honestly notice you. So it is so important as you are growing to have this messaging in place and to make sure you understand how you're helping others and, what they need. So many marketers educate in silos too. And they even work in silos. So, that's where they fall short, is because everything is done in these silos. You just talk about like Twitter help, or you talk about Discord help, but there's no movement in the purchase funnel. Like, how do you get them from Twitter to Discord? It's little things like that. So this is why I'm going through these steps of the soul purpose and knowing what your soul family wants before we actually get to the bread and butter. So, there is a reason before we dive really deep into this, because I want you to see how it all works together and how it all plays into getting people into a space that is actually going to get them to buy from you. If you don't have people on you, if they don't have your eyes on you, or if people aren't paying attention, you can't sell anything. All right. So there's a lot of movement in Web3 that's happening that we need to be mindful of, and we need to know how to navigate. So how do you get people off of TikTok to Twitter, from Twitter to Discord? That's how you build your community. How do you get them to your mint site? And this all seems really simple, but it's actually really hard to do effectively. And there's huge drop off in the Web3 space. And I've seen this with all the clients who come to me, is that there are huge holes in their marketing plans and their launch plans that aren't taking this into account. So again, this is why bringing it back, kind of showing you the layers. If you want to get more into that, go to the Built to Last, the paid community masterclass. All right. So out of like all kind of like the intro out of the way, not the intro, but like the scene setting and the inner workings, now you're at a place where you have a community. You're building your community, it's you for this masterclass, you don't need to have a community right now at all. You can actually start at zero. However, you need to make sure that you're using this tactic to build a community. All right. And then you're going to keep doing this as you sell to them. So how do you get people to buy? How do you get people to desire to to how do you get them to desire what you have to offer? This is the meat of the potatoes of this training. This is what we are really here for. So if I've lost you, come on back and refocus. And if you're like brain is already exploding, honestly, stop here, integrate, take it in again, and come back and go through this part tomorrow. This part is the part that is truly going to expand you. And for some people, it might not make sense right away. You might not be ready for it, and that's okay. Again, focus on the first two parts and then come back to this. Others, if you're ready for this, let's do it. If you go through this and you kind of get it, come back again, come back in 3 months. It's going to be so different. I've done this with so many mind expanding books. And the first time I read them, I'm like, that was awful. And then I'll hear somebody talk about it again. So I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. And it just resonates on a deep level the next time. And that's what these topics do to us. And this is why I love being in this space and really driving these conversations. So, okay, the key, the meat and potatoes, I want you to take this and just let it sink in. At people's core, what drives them to buy, to purchase, or to make, any decision is their self-worth. At people's core, what drives them to make decisions is their self-worth. I'm going to break this down and go into more details about this and try to explain it better. And for purposes at this level too, like obviously there's the Maslow's survival, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Once the survival aspect is met, it's all about self-worth after that, beyond life itself, it's self-worth. Self-worth is at the root of everyone's motivation to take action. It might be conscious, but most of the time it's subconscious, and they don't even know that is why they are taking action. And sometimes they don't even know what their self-worth is. A lot of times they don't. It's crazy. And, the key here is to figure out how they determine their self-worth, like their internal intention. So their internal intention, it's basically what are they trying to accomplish in this space, and how does it relate to their self-worth? It's most likely not asking them either. And we'll get to this in a second. But again, like beyond survival mode, nothing is more important to a person than his or her own sense of self-worth. So, I mean, if you can tap into that, you are gold. Like you will be successful. So here are some common ones that I've seen. And again, like it's interesting. Like sometimes I look at people and I'm like, I understand their self-worth, but it might not even go into this bucket. So I'm going to go into some general buckets. When you are looking and trying to decide and figure out what your soul family's self-worth means to them and what their internal intention is, get as specific as possible. You want to even dig deeper into what really moves them and what really creates a sense of their self-worth. The goal is for them to interact with you and feel a higher sense of self-worth. That's the ultimate goal. So this is what we're breaking down. First, you have to figure out what's their self-worth? Like, what is it that they're trying to go after? It could be success, achievement, belonging is a big one. It could be beauty, which also kind of goes in with like, the kind of the belonging aspect, and some of these overlap, but you'll get a sense of when you start to see people and when you start to take action on what I'm going to tell you to do and how to figure this out. Being of service, uplifting others, the need for love and being liked. And again, the whole belonging aspect of things. And some people, their self-worth is based on feeling whole by feeling healed. So that's a huge one. And you guys are probably like, oh my God, how the fuck do we figure this out? And this is interesting. And my major is in strategic advertising. So it's on like the strategy side of things, but also psychology. So this is like where I geek out. And this is like where I have like weird, deep thoughts with myself that I need to get out. So yeah. So, and again, this isn't coming from asking, like you find out someone's internal intention and their self-worth, not by asking. It's much deeper than that. It's observing. And luckily we are in a world right now where there is so much output on thoughts, comments on social everything, reacting to how they want to be. So, you know, how are they showing up on Twitter? What does their bio say about them? And again, like you figure this all out by observing. It's watching them, it's listening to them in Twitter spaces. And then like once you figure out and like maybe you try to like look at one person to practice, you know, you'll look at them in all aspects, their bio, what they're tweeting about, what their collection is about, what their mission is on their website. And then eventually you'll start to kind of like go to the next soul family person that you want to kind of, you know, interact with and research. And you'll start to find trends. You'll start to find trends, especially if you have a really strong Discord and the conversations that are happening on there. The ones who you're following on Twitter, like you'll start to see something once you actually open your eyes to it. This is the first part of just like understanding that people are always outputting stuff, and it usually relates back to their self-worth and their internal intention. You just kind of need to figure out what that link is. This is hard. It's easier said than done, but it can be done. And it just starts with the, you know, working that muscle, like I said, and start with one person. I would say, like, write down your ideal person. Go find that one person on Twitter who you're like, I'm obsessed with this person. They totally align with me. I could totally help them. They totally align. My purpose aligns with their purpose. And watch them, observe them. You know, it's, if you really look at it, you will see a lot, and you'll start to put the pieces together and find these trends. So, you know, like ask yourself, like, what do they long for? What do they want? What is their biggest fear? Is it, you know, death, ending up alone, being hurt, failing, not belonging? These are also tied to self-worth. And for the record, you know, obviously the biggest fear just came up. I don't want to tap into that at all. That Web3, that needs to be left in Web2, trying to like really dig into their pain points. I'm not about that. It's about the other side of it. Like, you know, their biggest fear, typically on the other side of that lends itself to what their self-worth is. So that's why I'm bringing that up. And these are just different questions you can ask, because one question might resonate with you and one might not. So just giving different examples. So you can see what topics they're drawn to, what they find motivating, and what they're passionate about by, again, just observing, by all the things that I just mentioned before. So there's a tweet the other day, and this is like what I do when I read people's tweets. It was lead, follow, or get out of the way. I'm going to pause here because I want you to answer from the bucket. Let me go to the list again. It was achievement, belonging, feeling healed, beauty, success, you know, all those things. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. That's a tweet. So just from that you can figure out what is their internal motivation. They're a huge achiever. Their internal motivation is to find success, you know, and that's just one tweet. Like, and you don't want to ever make decisions based off one tweet, but if you start to see kind of like the common theme between all of the aspects of how they're showing up online, you will be able to, you know, to take away this. So yeah, this person is all about taking action. They're goal oriented. They want to accomplish, you know, and so from this case, and just talking about like how this works, from like you figuring this out and then putting it into a marketing perspective or into a utility perspective, you can lead with, you know, you're only as good as your results. Like that could be one. Or if you're not taking action on X, you're going to miss out on Y, which will lead to Z, you know. And again, that is kind of like a Web2 example, but you can talk about like, hey, this collection, we are here to uplift each other and give you the tools that you need to succeed in this space. So you can see like, that's like the Web3 spin of like, we're all about achievement, and, you know, XYZ again, get specific on how you are actually going to deliver on that. You know, I think again, this space is getting noisier and noisier. Get as specific as you can at how you're going to lift them up. When you interact with them, then, you know, maybe you're offering a service and you're on a call with them. Give them a tip that helps them succeed in something, you know, immediately. Maybe you saw that they could tweak their bio. Give them that tip and let them know why. And that will help them feel a sense of self-worth. Like they're one step closer to becoming a bigger achiever. So you can see how that all kind of like ties down the line. And again, there's so many examples that we could go into. If you have questions, or if you want to hash out among the group, you know, how this would look for you, go for it by all means. So here are some questions, you know, that I've been seeing in the space just by listening into Twitter spaces and being in Discords, that you can kind of get a sense of what people really love and what their self-worth is and what they're making decisions based on. So questions are, how do I price my services? They might be, and again, like this is all taken into context and what else they're putting out there. Their internal motivator could be fairness, belonging, being liked. Or it's like, how do I get more followers? What if these people don't like the video that I post? So these are all different things that could either play into either belonging, actually, being liked, or success. Another one I heard the other day, I was like, ooh, this is a good one, is, am I supposed to be feeling this way during launch? I kind of feel like a failure. Okay. And then that kind of goes different buckets, like feeling like a failure. Okay, well, why? And you can ask those questions too. And I said, obviously you don't want to ask questions, but these are like clarifying questions. It's not like, hey, what's your self-worth? This is you getting to the root of what their self-worth is. And if somebody feels that way during launch, ask them why. And they could be because, let me think of an example. Maybe it's because there are people who told them that they couldn't do it and they wouldn't succeed. And their fear is that those people would be right, versus the fear of, well, I'm afraid of failing because I'll feel like a loser and everybody will see. So you can see that there's a huge difference there on what motivates them. Is it success? Is it the actual thought of losing it all and like just failing? Or is it the fact that they're going to feel like an outcast? So very different motivators. All right. So it is, once you get to that place, it is really important to ask questions. Once they're starting to kind of like have a conversation, ask just why. Why is as deep as you need to go. You don't need to, let them know why you're doing this. You can if you want, but it's all about being curious and genuinely curious about what other people think, whatever they feel, and why they're feeling that way. And again, like this shouldn't come from a place of like, oh, I need to like check off the box for my marketing. No, it should be very intentional and very genuine. And that's just what's going to make everyone more successful. It's going to make you successful, but it's also going to make them successful. And it's also going to make the Web3 space more successful, which is, feels like so good to me. So yes, it takes so much practice, but practice and practice and practice a little bit every day, and you will strengthen that muscle. And I promise you, like all of a sudden you'll just start to like notice that your mind just keeps going to like, oh, like what's their main motivation in life? Like what's their purpose in life? And you'll start to feel connected to these people, and you'll want to ask them more questions just because you're curious, or just because you really do genuinely want to help them. And then you'll start to see that there's going to be a shift in how you look at your soul family and how you're speaking in your marketing. Again, the utility that you're bringing and figuring out what they truly need and want from you. Other places, I think I already mentioned, what does their bio say? Go to their website, see what their brand story is about. What are they leading with in Twitter spaces? A lot of people lead with their brand story. So dig deep into that. And with your Twitter spaces, ask them why, get curious again. People have been taught to connect through talking about themselves. And again, this is very Web 2. It's like, you got to lead with your story, tell their story. And I'm a huge proponent of leading with your story versus selling. But first and foremost, just lead with your purpose, because you're going to lead with your purpose. You can lead with how you help others. Okay. That should be the lead. And then you can talk about yourself. So that's how you should do it. And that's how I'm teaching it, because honestly, nobody really cares about your story. They do. I just shouldn't say that. First and foremost, though, if you are talking to people who have no idea who you are, they want to know how you can help them. Or they might not even want to know that. But if you say that, and you say it in a way that aligns with their self-worth and what the problems that they're going through, it's going to catch their attention. All right. But a great way for you to learn what their self-worth is all based on what they say in these Twitter spaces, on the story that they lead with. Yes, it is like, this is all based on what motivates them. Everything they do on a daily basis and how they show up is their main motivator. Once you start to follow your ideal peeps, you will start to see trends. You can then formulate what the collective motivating factor is for them to buy. Again, get in your Discord, start to see if there's trends. Not everyone's gonna be like the exact same, but you can start to pick out trends, AKA determine their self-worth and how they value their self-worth and what they see their self-worth in. And, honestly, the first thing everyone needs to shift is to just stop leading with their story. I mean, I cannot say that enough. It's important, but it's not the main character. And I keep on harping on this because this is the shift I want to make. I want you to stop leading with your story, whether it be a sob story, and that's not a whole other discussion for another day, is that you don't need a sob story. You can have a motivational story. But either way, the main character needs to be, one, how do you help them solve their problem? And two, how to tap in to their internal motivating factor for buying, which is all tied to their self-worth. So I could base my masterclass, just for an example. So let's say I'm making a masterclass and it helps with creating content for your NFT marketing campaign. So there are different ways that I can talk about it. So, but first and foremost, helping people create content for their marketing campaign. That might be like a huge problem that they want, and they've been asking for me. So I'm like, okay, they want content. They want to figure out how to create content. Well, let's go a step deeper. And then because I can either talk about it in two ways. I can talk about it in regards to belonging, which is creating content that magnetizes people to you, creating content that gets more likes. So what tweets can get me more likes, more follows, or we can talk about it in regards to achievement. So how do you create higher quality content that sells more, that gets you in front of more people? Basically, how do we get you seen? How do we get the spotlight on you? And, it's all about creating content, but there's just different angles. So think about the next thing, what you're offering, think about it and think about the different ways that you can angle it. And if you have a huge audience, you might need to bucket it up, and you might have, two different segments and two different ways about how you talk about this. And that's okay. That's totally fine. Just be very intentional with how you're showing up and who you're talking with. If you have a huge collection, it's 10,000 collection, and you're seeing that, yes, there's the belonging aspect of it, and yes, there's the achievement aspect of it. You can talk about both of those things. But if you're in a space that is all about community building, all about just being very tight-knit group, talk about the belonging aspect. Don't talk about the achievement aspect. Focus on what the self-motivating factor is. Okay. Okay. That was a lot. Let me just make sure I'm capturing everything. Yes, but, just to reiterate, Twitter Spaces is one of the best places to look at these conversations and also have these conversations. You can host Twitter Spaces, not be let's figure out what our self-worth is, but just have an open discussion about, hey, this is what our collection is about. Maybe it's about health and wellness. Pick a topic and dive deep into people's stories and why they feel like they need to have better health and wellness, or how it's helped them, and create a space that makes them feel comfortable to feel vulnerable and ask the hard questions, and to answer your questions of why. And this is already, Web3 is doing a great job of this in Twitter Spaces. So keep up that work and keep creating safe spaces. And you do this by being vulnerable yourself, and making sure that people know that you are there to help support them. But once you start creating these conversations, whether it's in your Discord or Twitter Space or wherever, once you know this, talk about it in your marketing, switch up your utility, whether, maybe it's coaching calls and physical prints or access to community. Figure out what your utility is and how it's best going to support your community, your soul family. Maybe they don't need a coaching call. Maybe they just need community. All right. But the most important part of this, I would say, and I touched on this earlier, is the delivery. And I would say the most important part, but it's very important. So before you ever start to market yourself, create your delivery plan. All right. So talk about that utility. Figure out what your capacity is so you don't underdeliver. If you underdeliver in this space, you're done for, especially with all the rug pulls and the failures and the skepticism. If you promise and under deliver, you're done for. If you promise and blow it out of the water, you're 99% going to succeed in one way or another, especially in the long term. And that's because you are going to have a solid, tight-knit community who loves and adores you, who will uplift you, who will shout what you have to offer to the rooftops and will do the selling for you. This is where people will ask to buy from you. They will, keep wanting to repurchase and repurchase. You will have requests flooding in for your services. You don't even need to do sales calls. Sometimes I don't even do sales calls. It's amazing. I will have a conversation with people over DMs. I'll send them kind of my suite of services. And because I know the motivating factor, because I've had this discussion with them, and because I know what their pain point is and know how to talk about it, that's when I make the sale like easy. And also it's like cool too, because like people talk about promotions and like, should I get a promoter? You don't need to pay promoters if you're doing all of this, because your community will promote for you. Okay. So it all starts with the problem that your soul family wants to solve. And this is important too, because, and again, I mentioned this in the Built to Last Masterclass, but what's the problem you solve? Problem being the problem that they think they have and want to overcome. Okay, so this is a huge thing. So we need to talk about the problem. And again, another tangent, but I think that this is really important. I think you guys will like this. So there's a difference between the problem that they actually need solved versus the problem that they think that they want to overcome. So they might actually need to have better speaking skills, but what they want to fix is having more people in their Twitter spaces. So lead with, hey, if you want to have more successful Twitter spaces, like I have this one-on-one call that helps you get more people in your Twitter spaces, helps more people share your Twitter spaces. And then once you grab your attention and once you deliver, you make that bridge for people and like, let them know like, hey, your Twitter spaces aren't performing because you need speaking lessons. And guess what? Like, that's what I offer. And that's what I'm here. And this is what we're going to work on over the next few months. So you see how you kind of like have to meet them where they're at and then bridge them to what will actually get them results. All right. I feel like that could be another masterclass too. And then to support the problem with marketing that touches on how they view their self-worth. The ultimate key, and I'm going to leave you with this. And I think I've kind of like have talked a lot about this in circles. And again, I do this because I want to drive it home and I want to give different angles, different types of learners, and to give you different ways of looking at things so you can learn and just ingrain it in yourself. But the ultimate key, make it your intention your ultimate goal to make other people feel greater self-worth. Okay, let me say that again. Make it your intention, your ultimate goal to make people feel greater self-worth. That is the ultimate goal. Draw attention to yourself and to your brand and to your project, whatever you're working on, by showing interest in others and, asking the questions and staying curious and then uplifting them again to that feeling that you're trying to have them feel of a higher self-worth, whether it's belonging, whether it is being successful or achieving, whether it's healing. This is what intentional marketing is all about. And, this is the core, to lift people up to make sales. Okay. Not pull them down, to lift them up to make sales. And it becomes a win for everyone. You make money, you get closer to your life purpose, and you create a better life for others if you can really tap into this. And this is the future of marketing. And, Web 2, there's a lot of talking about pain points. There's a lot of like creating FOMO, which again, you can still do in a very intentional way and do it in a very feel-good way. But this is the future of marketing. This is who is going to succeed moving forward, especially in the Web3 space. It's about lifting people up. It's about making them feel their self-worth and know that they're worthy, and truly understanding what drives them to purchase and how you can help them by staying curious, by asking questions. All right. I feel like my brain's about to explode. Yours probably is too. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear your questions. I want to hear it all. I would love to hear your greatest takeaways. Again, make sure that you are tweeting, quote tweeting the pin tweet, or, the image that we add in here, so you can help share and get the message out, and honestly just make the Web3 space a better space. I think that this masterclass helps do that, and I hope you felt that too. And just in general, if anybody needs to be in here, let them know and share it. That would mean the world to me. That would be a greatest compliment. And of course, you will get access for free if you do that by Friday for the next pay masterclass, which is the art of storytelling. All right, lovely ladies and gents, thank you so much for being here. I know this was a longer masterclass than normal, but I just felt like it was super powerful and potent. And, obviously, concepts that we have to really ingrain in ourselves and really kind of wrap our heads around. So let's have an open discussion about this. Let's talk about it. Tweet me your your biggest takeaways, or put them into the Discord. I would love to hear all of it. All right. Have a great day.